In my earlier video, I attempted pie crust for the first time in 10 years. It's looking pretty good. Let's make a pie. I'm turning back again to the Cherished Recipes book. I figured it was time that I started going back to some of these old recipes here on the farm and try to do things the way that some of the old homesteaders did. And then I came across this recipe by Leona Ferguson, and it is the Dutch Settlers Vinegar Pie. So just the sound and the thought of a vinegar pie is a little bit strange to me, but I hear it's supposed to be very tasty. I've got all of my ingredients here. This is not your traditional vinegar pie. This one has just a little bit of variation to it, but I'm gonna get a mixing bowl, so let's mix everything together and get it in the pie crust. So the very first thing we need to do is take a 1/4 cup of sifted flour. I sifted the flour, then I remeasured it. There was a lot more when it was unsifted. This calls specifically for a 1/4 cup of sifted flour. And it says you're going to re-sift the flour into your mixing bowl with the spices that go in this pie. 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cloves, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And all of that's going to go in with our flour, and we're going to re-sift this into our mixing bowl. It smells good. Okay, so the next thing we need is 4 egg yolks to go into our pie batter. So I've had my eggs sitting out. We're going to separate them. And the egg yolks are going to go into the batter. The egg whites will be set aside for our meringue. There's one. Easiest way to separate your eggs. You don't need any special tools. You don't need anything fancy. God gave you the perfect tool for separating eggs right here, provided you don't drop them. They separate easier when they're at room temperature, so these have been sitting out. The egg whites we're going to set aside for our meringue. Then we're going to add our sugar. We have 1 cup of sugar here, and we're just going to fold it in a little bit at a time. How appropriate is it for this recipe today that I have my Danish whisk? Love my Danish whisk. I was supposed to beat my eggs first and then add the sugar. Don't tell anybody. Kind of jumped the gun. I think it'll all turn out the same though. It all ended up in the same place. Okay, next we're going to add 1 cup of sour cream. It's starting to look like a little bit of pot filling now. Okay, one last thing. 2 tablespoons of vinegar. This is a vinegar pie. This is a Depression era pie. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this, a vinegar pie. I hear they're very good. Let's give it a try. So, some of the recipes I saw called for white vinegar, some called for apple cider vinegar. This one calls for white vinegar. I'm going to trust it. I'm going to go with it. Here we go. 2 tablespoons. All right, one last thing. A cup of nuts, a cup of chopped nuts. In those go. A few final turns here of our Danish whisk. That looks good. You really can't smell the vinegar? I actually smell the peanuts and the cloves and the nutmeg. Awfully full. I'm not sure that's a 9-inch pie. That might be I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to stop over my head. I think that might be an 8-inch pie shelf. I don't think it's a 9-inch. So I'm going to stop right here. I've got it as full as I'm willing to push it here. And so according to Leona, now what I need to do So I need to bake this in the center rack at 375 for 40 to 45 minutes. Okay, the pie is done. See if I can set it down here without cracking the top custard filling here. Soft peaks. Here we go. Now I don't know how thick this is supposed to be, but we're gonna just put it on, take it to the edges. Time to get this pie back in the oven. Hi honey, I'm making a pie. Don't be scared. I'm making a pie.